The galaxy remembered the day the Council of Worlds gathered to vote on the fate of Earth. The chamber was vast, built from living stone that pulsed with faint blue veins, and it echoed with the voices of thousands of species. At the center stood the High Speaker, whose voice had never trembled in centuries. That day, however, it shook as he announced the results. Every species, without exception, had cast a vote to enslave the humans. They considered Earth a threat, not because it was powerful, but because it was unpredictable. The humans advanced too quickly. Their courage defied logic. Their unity was impossible to decipher. The galaxy feared what it did not understand. Earth received the message within minutes. No plea for negotiation was offered. No demand for compliance. Only the declaration that the age of human freedom had ended. Yet the world did not panic. The people gathered, spoke quietly, and decided that if the galaxy wished to test humanity, then humanity would respond in full measure. They crafted ships unlike anything the galaxy had seen. The vessels did not gleam with ceremonial beauty. They radiated purpose. They launched silently into the dark. The first encounter took place near the border of the Varn Dominion. Varn ships appeared in a perfect formation of silver crescents, disciplined and sure of victory. The humans sent a single craft. No name adorned its hull. Within it sat Commander Dale, a man known for his calm presence and steady resolve. His voice carried across the com channels without anger. He simply stated that Earth would not bow. The Varn scoffed. They viewed humans as frail creatures. They prepared to fire. Dale pressed a single control, and his ship shifted into a form no species had ever documented. It became a streak of light, impossible to track. The Varn tried to aim, but could not. The human ship moved with an intelligence and intention that defied their sensors. In less than a minute, the Varn vessels were disabled, floating gently as if placed into sleep. News traveled with terrifying speed. The galaxy whispered. They wondered how Earth created such technology in so little time. Some claimed the humans had discovered a new form of energy. Others insisted they had unlocked a hidden force within space itself. Whatever the truth, it dismantled the Council's confidence. Still, pride pushed them to continue their campaign. The next assault came from the Kurak Alliance. Their fleet was immense. Their weapons carved through asteroids. They believed that humans, regardless of new tricks, would crumble beneath numbers. Yet when they arrived near Earth's moon, they found no enemy waiting in fear. Instead, they found a full human armada. The ships did not match any known design. Some were large and heavy, shaped like mountainous slabs of metal. Others were sleek, narrow, built to weave through enemy fire. All were marked with the same symbol of Earth. At the front led a pilot named Rian, a quiet man with sharp instincts. He commanded his fleet with precision, not aggression. The battle lasted only moments. Human ships moved in coordinated lines, shifting formations with perfect timing. The Kurak were overwhelmed. They fired desperately, but their shots hit nothing. Humans responded with pulses that neutralized Kurak engines, leaving their ships drifting harmlessly. No human fired a killing shot. They wanted the galaxy to understand their strength, not their cruelty. The Council grew desperate. They convened again, their voices rising in panic. They demanded explanations from their analysts, but the analysts could only offer theories. Some believed humanity had evolved mentally. Others claimed they had discovered a way to predict movements before they occurred. None could explain it fully. The truth was simple. Humans had changed because they were united. The threat of enslavement had erased borders, languages, and conflicts. Earth had become one will. The Council ordered a final strike. They gathered the combined fleets of every allied species. It was the largest force ever assembled in recorded history. They approached Earth with such confidence that the stars seemed to tremble beneath their engines. Yet as they neared the solar system, space itself shifted. A barrier appeared. It was not metal. It was not energy. It was something entirely new. It shimmered like a curtain woven from living light. The vast fleet tried to pass, but the barrier held them. It vibrated softly, like a shield crafted from thought. On the other side stood a single human vessel. It was small compared to the titanic fleet facing it. Within that ship stood a woman named Mara. She spoke to the fleet commanders. Her words were steady. She welcomed them to stand down and return home. The commanders refused. They had pride. They had authority. They believed humans were bluffing. Mara raised her hand. The barrier expanded outward, gently pushing the fleet backward. Not a single ship was damaged, yet none could resist its force. For the first time in the galaxy's long history, a fleet composed of countless worlds could not advance a single meter. Fear gripped them. They retreated in silence, no longer daring to fire. Word spread. The council became paralyzed by shame. They had voted unanimously to enslave a species that had shown no desire for conquest. They had mistaken unity for hostility. They had mistaken progress for threat. They had mistaken humanity's resilience for rebellion. Soon after, the council received a summons. It came from Earth. The message was brief. The humans invited the council to meet in person. Many leaders feared a trap, but refusing the invitation seemed worse. They traveled to Earth under escort. When they landed, they found a world transformed. Huge structures rose into the sky, glowing with energy. Gardens stretched across entire continents. Rivers flowed through channels, sculpted by clean technology. The humans welcomed their guests with calm expressions. They led them to a hall where the leaders of Earth waited. At the center stood Commander Dale, Mara, and Rian. They were not dressed as conquerors. They wore simple uniforms with no ornaments. Dale spoke with a voice that left the council silent. He reminded them of their vote. He reminded them of their attempt to strip humanity of freedom. Yet he did not speak with anger. He explained that Earth understood the fear that had driven the vote. Humanity had been unpredictable. It had forced the galaxy to face the unknown. Yet humans had no desire for domination. They sought respect, not power. The council leaders trembled. They bowed. They begged for mercy. Dale did not accept their submission. He accepted their apology. He offered peace, but on one condition. The council must recognize Earth as an equal world, not a subordinate one. They must acknowledge the right of every species to rise without fear of suppression. The council agreed instantly. They had no choice, yet they also understood the fairness of the demand. Earth became a new voice in the galaxy. Its representatives traveled to distant systems, offering aid, sharing knowledge, and forging bonds. Human ships patrolled the borders where war had once been constant. Pirates fled at the sight of them. Worlds that had suffered under tyrannical rulers found safety when Earth intervened. The galaxy learned that humans fought fiercely not for conquest, but for justice. Years passed. The council transformed. Where once it had acted with arrogance, now it listened. It learned from human leaders who valued cooperation over control. The galaxy entered an age of peace it had never known. Yet the memory of the vote remained. Every species remembered how close they had come to enslaving a world that would later save them. In time, the council invited Earth to host a grand assembly. Representatives from every species gathered in a vast chamber built by human engineers. It was a place of transparency, its walls made of crystalline material that allowed sunlight to glow warmly throughout. Dale stood at the center again. He delivered a speech that echoed through the chamber. He reminded them of the past, not to shame them, but to ensure they never repeated their mistakes. He spoke of unity, resilience, and growth. The galaxy listened. They learned. They changed. The final gesture of reconciliation came from the species that had led the original vote. The Varn Dominion sent a delegation to Earth. They knelt before the council hall, offering a pledge to defend Earth for generations. Dale and Mara accepted the pledge with humility. Humanity had no desire to hold the galaxy in fear. It simply wished to stand among equals. The galaxy now understood a truth they had once overlooked. Humanity was not a threat because it sought war. Humanity was a threat because it sought progress, equality, and freedom for all. These were forces more powerful than weapons. These were forces that changed civilizations. The Council never again considered enslaving any world. The vote that had once united every species in fear became a lesson told to young generations. They learned that unity, based on fear, collapses, but unity, based on respect, endures. They learned that strength used with kindness holds more power than strength used with pride. Earth continued to grow. Its cities merged with nature. Its ships traveled to the farthest edges of the galaxy. Humans studied new cultures, exchanged knowledge, and offered protection to those in need. They remained watchful, yet peaceful. Their reputation became legendary. Worlds whispered stories of the day they all voted to enslave Earth. They spoke of the day humans stood firm. They repeated the tale of the barrier of living light and the single ship that faced a fleet without trembling. In the end, every species gained something unexpected. They gained a protector. They gained a teacher. They gained a friend. And Earth gained what it had always wanted: a place in the stars where it stood N,